everyone, welcome back to another edition of UCSD's Cooking on a Student Budget. Today we are going to combine food from a local restaurant at Price Center, Tapioca Express, with some greens and other vegetables from a local garden, Rogers Urban Farm Lab. So the point of doing this video is that we know everyone gets those cravings for greasy fast food like this, and it's really delicious. But we want to teach you how to combine that with local vegetables and produce to make it actually even tastier with a little bit more nutrition. So I'll take you through what we have here today. So from Tapioca Express, we have the fried tofu, fried squid balls, crispy chicken, and steamed pork bun. And then from Rogers Urban Farm Lab, we have collard greens, cilantro, onion greens, loquats, kohlrabi, beets, and beet greens. So we want to show you how to process these greens to be both a side to your dish and also paired directly with it. And we're going to start with the collard greens over here, and we're going to use these as a basic wrap. It's kind of universal to any food you want to get. You can use it with all of these ingredients we have here. Also, if you got a burger or something else like that from one of the places in Price Center, you could just wrap a collard green around that too. Now Zach is going to take over and show us how to make that wrap and process all the greens.
All right, everyone. I'm going to show you how to turn any collard green leaf, as well as kohlrabi, kale, really works with anything in the brassica family, but collard greens are the best because of their size and sheer amount of food that they can fit inside of them. So if we want to use this as a wrap, we're already pretty good from this side, as you can see, but it doesn't really want to bend this way because of this thick little stem right here. But what we're going to do is we're just going to trim that off like so. And this is where having a very sharp knife and some very delicate control comes in handy. The less sharp the knife, the more control you're going to need. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off that stem. You still want to leave a little bit. That's where the real skill comes into play, is scraping off just enough, but there's still some stem left. We trim that off. Now, once we trim off that stem, you'll notice it folds very readily now. Now, another thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke a little hole right here. I'm just going to do a little X with my knife. So just like that, poked a little hole. Just a little bit, not too big. We can make that bigger if we need to. And now, we're going to get one of these ingredients right here. So as you can see here from Tapioca Express, they gave us some fried squid and some fried tofu. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, let's say, 2 things of the fried tofu and 2 things of the fried squid on there. All right. And then if we really want to get crazy, we can even take one of our loquats. Loquats have sizable seeds, so we're going to pull this off to the side here. Take out those seeds. Push those off to the side. Kind of mash up our loquats. One of the beauties of wearing gloves. Now we're going to use this as a bit of a juice in there. So now, we wrap. And then you remember that little hole that we poked up on this side? Well, now we're going to use that hole. So we fold it, push it right through that hole right there. Just like that, we now have a perfect little wrap using just a single collard green leaf. Now, if we wanted to, and if we had a barbecue or an oven, we could throw this in the oven. We could throw it in the barbecue. We even have a pan over here, and we're going to show you a little bit later how to just pan fry this. Otherwise, this thing is ready to go, and we can just eat it as is. So we're just going to put a little bit of oil, just enough to cover the bottom of our pan, and then we're just going to place it right on there. Personally, I would prefer to put this on a barbecue or in an oven, and then that way it almost becomes like a little bit of Hawaiian barbecue since of the loquat that we put into there. And then we're just going to leave it in here for probably just about a minute, and then we'll flip it, let it fry for another minute, and then we'll be good to go. And not only is this cooking the collard green leaf, but it's simultaneously keeping our Tapioca Express fried food warm and crispy on the inside. So we'll just give that a minute. So we have some wonderful color, so this will add a nice display aspect to our meal as well. Notice fried food tends to have this same sort of bland color to it. With fresh vegetables, we can give it a little bit of color and nutrition while we're at it. So we can either put that directly on the inside, or we can go and fry it up. Me, I'd rather we fry it up. All right, next up, we're gonna go after this kohlrabi right here. Most people haven't even heard of kohlrabi, much less know how to even cut or prepare it. Me, I honestly like to just start off by cutting it in half here. Maybe we'll go after these big chunks later. We'll compost that. And then, honestly, here it just comes down to preference. I actually kind of like making almost like French fries out of them that are just really thinly sliced. So now we're frying up our kohlrabi to make some kohlrabi French fries. The rest of these we're gonna either eat raw, hand out to eat as raw veggies. You can use it in hummus dip or something like that. Or we can just put it right inside of our collard green wrap along with everything else. Let's swing it over. So we'll take our 2 pieces, we'll stick it in there. All right, our kohlrabi French fries are looking pretty good. I think we're ready to plate these. Swap those off there, something like this. Maybe have a raw one in there. And then what we can even do is take some of our extra stir-fried greens right in here, give it some color and some more nutrition. Right there, there we go. And look at that. So we have our tapioca express, and then we have our garden ingredients. Now we have a little bit of balance to go in there. I think we like that. And if we want to, we can go ahead and pair a little bit of dessert with a loquat from the garden. Ain't that beautiful? All right, folks. Now we're gonna incorporate some beets into our meal as well. And the key to putting these in is similar to the beet greens themselves, and we wanna cut it as thin as possible. We wanna start off by getting kind of this kind of thick tendony stuff off the very end there. And then we can see that beautiful color interior. Is that centered?
No.
Just tell me where to lift it.
Down. Down. Yeah.
I can just hold it up. There we go. Beautiful thing right here. And then we're gonna cut it nice and thin, almost like we're cutting potato chips. It's tough, but we're gonna cut it as thin as possible. Really wanna have a really good paring knife. And once again, we just throw those on, make them into literal potato chips, and just use them as a regular pairing. I get a little bit crazy when it comes to these pork buns right here. I like to dissect them like this. I know a lot of people are probably cringing right now, I'm sorry. But we're gonna get crazy with this right here. I'm gonna split it open. We're gonna flip it over like this. Just like that. And then if you really wanna get crazy with it, you can take some of the other appetizers and you can garnish it, kind of balance it out. But what this really is gonna be good for, now we have a perfect bowl for some stir fry to go in this thing. Cilantro. Just a little bit. Leave these on the outside as much as possible because that right there looks beautiful. But we'll stick a few in here just for the sake of example. There we go. You want to kind of go at it, kind of make it more of a Filipino Hawaiian thing. Add just a little bit of fruit. Wait, is that a Filipino thing, adding fruit to it? Is that Hawaiian? All right, let me reshoot that. Now, if you're the type who likes a little bit of a sweet, fruity taste along with your savory, let's get some of these loquats from the garden that we have in season right now and add these. There we go. So same thing as before, we've kind of made our veggie bowl. We could add a lot more greens than this. If we wanted, we could add a little bit more cilantro. If we want, we could add a little bit more beet greens. If we want, we can even do a full-on stir fry with mushroom, cauliflower, whatever your imagination really. But the theme of today is really showing how we can make these wraps with all these different type of Tapioca Express food. There we go. All right, everyone, the worst has happened. We actually have leftovers. So we're gonna pretend here like we didn't manage to finish all these, and now, like all fried food, we let it sit for just a little bit too long, and now it just does not quite taste the same. So now that pretty much means we need to refry this and get it going again. Now, personally, sometimes baking is the best way to kind of get back kind of that crispy texture that you can get from frying. But if you just need to refry it with a bunch of other greens like we're gonna do here, because I don't have a lot of time, baking takes time, so I'm just gonna get the pan nice and hot. I'm gonna get all these raw ingredients, dice them up, and just mix them right in. So let's start with what little bit of popcorn chicken we have. Let's put in 2 things of squid. Let's put in 2 things of fried tofu. Then let's take our beet greens, our kohlrabi, our beets themselves, some loquat, and some onion greens, and let's just grind it all up together. You could literally throw this into a food blender. If you're really trying to save time, throw this all into a food blender, mince it all up together. No, break it down so it's all about the same size. Not too small. We want it to be about the same size as our ingredients in here. Otherwise, we're gonna have a bit of a size and texture mix match. Just cutting everything into quartets. There we go. Now our food is of about the same size as the vegetables that we chopped up. Much more stir-fry friendly. All right, so now we chopped, we've added it. Now again, we just do our usual stir-fry thing. Now you'll notice this is a lot like our cooking on a student budget where we combine fried rice with veggies from the garden. It really is pretty much the same thing. You can take any leftover out of your fridge, whether it be the rice, the fried food, maybe a quarter of a hamburger. Just chop it up really fine, throw it in with some veggies, fry it with some oil, tumble it around a little bit until everything's nice and cooked together and coated in a nice even coat of the favorite type of oil. Maybe add a few more herbs and spices. I'm good. I'll take it all in mode and just use the extra salt from the restaurant itself to kind of carry the flavor the rest of the way. And that's it. Not only did we turn leftovers from not so fresh to tasty, but we also gave it some nice color and appeal at the same time, in addition to nutrition.
So that brings us to the end of our cooking demonstration, and we have 2 collard wraps, one with fried greens and one with just the raw greens, and then a stir-fry infusion with some other chopped up greens. And this works really well if you're looking for something that's really quick and easy to do, that's close by in Price Center. But if you have other greens you'd like to use or other fried foods you'd like to use, that would work too. So you can mix it up however you like. Thanks for stopping by today, and we'll see you next week.